Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today you find me in my Range Rover L322 doing a bit of, it's not really preventative maintenance because it's caused a problem, but it's maintenance. Bit of a hopefully helping video for other people with these. So one of the things these suffer with a lot is water ingress into the cabin, which then causes havoc with all the fairly complicated electronics. So the main source of most of the water ingress is through the sunroof channels. They've got drain channels that come down here, go down there, and then out underneath. Several things can happen, most common being they block in the corners. They get a bit, bit of moss and stuff in there, and they then block. That then overflows over the top, and there's actually a gap between the sunroof channels and the roof panel. So as soon as any water sits in there, it can go over when you go around corners, or if the level gets high enough, it can actually go over the top and then sit and run down the headlining. What that does is makes all the footwell down here wet. There's a channel that sits down here. There's control module in there, a load of wiring down here, and can wreak havoc with faults and the such like, which is what has happened to this one. I knew it had a little bit of an issue. One of the times a couple of weeks ago driving it, my wife sat in the passenger seat, so my foot's getting wet as it was raining, so there's obviously an issue there. But today came up with air suspension inactive. It wouldn't lock afterwards. Weird things like tailgate wouldn't work, all just peculiar things that there's too many things going on here, that it's not just individual items, there's something bigger going on. So I thought I'd just have a look, because it rained last night. It hasn't rained in a long time, so I thought and we cleaned the car yesterday, which wouldn't have helped. So I thought I'd have a look, and lo and behold, that area is wet. And the module down there, thought I would just pull the plug off and have a look. As soon as I did that, bear in mind there's no key in it at the time, the air suspension light was still on, the steering was still out, extended. As soon as I did that, it all went back to normal. So I was like, there's obviously an issue, and you can see the terminals were green and stuff, so it's had water in it, unfortunately. Luckily, a bit of WD-40 and working the plug in and out and giving it a wipe and a bit of a clean seems to have made it work again. For how long, I don't know. Luckily, it's a very easy module to replace, so worst case, if I do have to replace it, it's not going to be too difficult or hopefully too expensive. But it has led me to believe I've got 10 minutes on a Sunday just to have a play around with it and try and see if I can fix the leak. So checked the sunroof drains, they are clear. So my next thinking is then, well, how else can water get in it? Either the tubes are broken, perished, split somewhere along the line. That's quite a big job. So in these A-pillars, airbags and stuff, so it can get quite tricky getting all these things out. You then got to take part of the dash out to get to them. They're not easy things to get to. So I thought I'll just have a look up here. Peered up there, you can see the corner of the drain up here and the pipe where it goes in, and lo and behold, it's come away from its tube. So the tube is just sat there, and then the connector is next to it. And you can see on the top of the headlining, I'll show you in just a minute, you can see there's dirt and stuff there, so it's obviously been off for a while. So I've taken the handle off, and I'm gonna put the pipe back on, and then just retest it, because I tested it just now, and by pouring a bit of water down there, no water came out the underside of the car, which is where it should do. because obviously it was all running down the inside of there. So hopefully with that tube connected, it doesn't look like there's any splits or anything in it either, which is good. So I think what's happened is someone's tried to unblock the drain by sticking a rod down it, and unfortunately they've pushed the end of it off the little nozzle that it sits on. So yeah, hopefully that's an easy fix, and I'll try and get in position now. I'll just show you where I'm talking about. I don't know how well this is going to come out on camera, but you can see the tube there quite easily. I've managed to push that most of the way on. I think I'm going to try and just get it on a little bit further. But as I say, you can see here that the top of this headline is filthy. So it's obviously been like it for a while. And you can see there as well the gap between the sunroof rails and the roof line. Obviously normally when the sunroof is closed, the seal on the sunroof should do a fairly good job of sealing that, but it won't be a complete seal. So if those drains block, then it just comes over the top of there, sits on the headline and runs down. The back of this headlining is fairly water resistant, so it will sort of pool on top and run down rather than soaking through, unless it's on there for a long time, unless it's wet, and then you'll start seeing watermarks on the inside, and you'll probably notice a little bit where the headlining comes away. So yeah, hopefully that points some of you into the right direction of finding issues with water ingress. There is other issues with the rear. They let water in around where the amp is and stuff, so you can end up with lots of water in the spare wheel well and either side cab bins. And another potential leak into the cabin is the fresh air vents under the bonnet. I'm going to check them, but they're fine. So once I've done this one, I'm just going to quickly check that driver's side and make sure the driver's side's all seated properly and nicely, although I have checked that with water and that does drain out underneath, so I'm less worried about that, but I will check it while I'm here. And I've got all the tools out, but it's a quick 5-minute job. It's a fairly, hopefully, easy fix for what could potentially be quite a severe problem, and I think is quite a common cause of a lot of the electrical gremlins on these. So hopefully it should be a good fix, it should last, and I'll try and make sure I keep them clean in the future. So thank you for watching, hopefully it's been helpful. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Thank you very much.